Welcome to I'm Not Repeating Myself podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and I hope you heard what I said the first time because I'm not repeating myself. Hope everybody's having a good Monday so far. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I definitely did. First off, I want to shout out my guys from Jacksonville from Random Acts of Podcast, Joe and Ant, for having me on this weekend. We had a great time, great conversation. So please be on the lookout for that episode. That episode will probably be dropping sometime this week. Make sure you follow them on Patreon, Instagram, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, all that great stuff, man. Definitely shout out to y'all guys down there. We had some great conversation, kick some jokes, and most likely I might be back down there for September when the Panthers play the Jacksonville Jaguars week 1. We got to handle business because last time we was down there, it didn't go pretty well, and I wasn't feeling that. So niggas was able to get a couple of jokes off on me, but hey, I ain't got no bad blood with the Jaguars, man. I'm just hoping for a great time, a good game. And hopefully, my team could come out with the victory, man. We've been down for some years, man. But definitely, shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all for having me on. I can't wait to get busy and cook up again with y'all, man. So definitely, shout out to Random Acts of Podcast. Hopefully, everybody had a good weekend. Hope y'all was able to get closer to your goals, get some work done. But I'm ready to kick this thing off with y'all, man. So what we gonna get into first? Of course, the big news that's been going on this week, man. Diddy trial. Diddy trial officially started this week. A lot of telling details. Definitely we had Cassie take the stand. We had Don Richard also take the stand. And just some recently breaking news that happened over the weekend. Aubrey O'Day, who was supposed to take the stand, will not be taking the stand in this case, which I find very, very, very alarming. But just to kick this thing off, we want to get into what exactly Diddy is on trial for. So what is Sean Diddy Combs on trial for? So Sean Diddy Combs is on trial for. The 55-year-old was arrested last September and faces charges including racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He could be sentenced to life in prison if convicted. Mr. Combs has pleaded not guilty and denied all allegations against him. Dozens of prospective jurors were screened before being withheld down to 12 and 6 alternates. The first week of testimony will include 2 witnesses who were expected to speak briefly. Prosecutor said, followed by a third witness who will see more time on the stand. Mr. Combs also faces dozens of civil lawsuits from individuals who accuse him of using his power to drug, assault, rape, intimidate, and silence people. He has said the individual lawsuits are attempts for a quick payday. So we all know all of this really kicked off at the end of 2023, December, when Cassie filed her lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. He then released a statement that said, he settled, but he wasn't guilty of said acts that she said. A couple of months later, we followed up. We had the graphic video of Diddy basically beating Cassie in the hotel lobby with his towel on and her in the fetal position. And that's when everything really just started to snowball after that. We had the raids that happened. What we got from the raids was they found sex tapes. They found, of course, the biggest joke that was running around was, all the baby oils. And then he recently got arrested, like they said, in September of last year. And he's been sitting the waiting trial this whole time. So what I wanted to do was talk about what is sex trafficking, because a lot of people seem to be misinformed about what sex trafficking was. And even me, myself, being honest, I had a misunderstanding of exactly what sex trafficking is and why this is one of his charges. So sex trafficking is a form of human trafficking where individuals are forced, defrauded, or coerced in engaging in commercial sex acts. Commercial sex act. This refers to any sex act where something of value is exchanged, such as money, drugs, or other forms of payment. Number 2, force, fraud, or coercion. Force, physical assault, confinement, or threats of violence. Fraud, deception, false promises about employment or marriage, or withholding important information like wages or legal documents. Coercion, threats, intimidation, debt, bondage, or psychological manipulation. Exploitation. Traffickers exploit vulnerabilities like poverty, lack of opportunity, unstable living conditions, and histories of abuse to lure and control victims. So when Cassie took the stand, there were some things that initially, before me actually looking up this definition, that I was misinformed on. But let me start out by saying this. Diddy, I was done with Diddy when I first seen the Cassie video. Now that this trial is here, I feel like they pretty much, and I'm gonna break down some of what I've heard, pretty much what I've been seeing so far, he could be found guilty of what they're accusing him of. There has been details that I find very, very shocking and alarming. And I really thought that initially them using the Cassie video of him beating her was just going to be the basis of their case. And just in being honest, because I'm very unbiased when I'm speaking on this topic, and I'm very sensitive to Cassie and others who are involved in this as well. He's not on trial for that video. So I'm thinking to myself that maybe his team is not really uh helping him out in this case. As far as, if this is the only thing y'all bringing to the table, then what is it that we need to be discussing? But some of the things that I first saw when I initially was covering this case, as I break it down, Cassie admits that she wanted $30 million to not release her book about Diddy, and Diddy settled after she filed her lawsuit for $20 million in just 24 hours. That was one of the biggest details that came out. Cassie, this is the biggest thing that stands out to me, because there's a lot, so I'm not going to go through everything. Cassie says she did so many freak offs, she had sores on her tongues and UTIs constantly. So this is just I'm breaking this down from Inner City Press. How would you recover from a freak off? Cassie then says, I take opiates. I wanted to feel numb. We get massages, IV fluids. The chef would cook us something. How often did you take opiates after freak offs? Often. I got urinary tract infections. Were the UTIs painful? Very. Antibacterials didn't work anymore. What sores? Frictions in my mouth from what? Oral sex. You said UTI, then sad face emoji. This, I guess, is from a text. I was open with him about them. So you feel sick? Why are you sorry? I took the blame for things. So what I notice is throughout this whole debacle, and this also was another situation that involved other celebrities, like with Kid Cudi. But just as far as these freak offs, right? Here's my thing. And what I see being misunderstood on Twitter and social media is, oh, Cassie was complicit with the freak offs. Listen, you can consent to something in the beginning, and throughout time passing, you can no longer consent to that. That's what needs to be understood when it comes to this whole situation, because throughout the whole week is mainly been about the freak offs. There was also a testimony from Cassie saying that her and assistants were responsible for finding escorts and participants for these freak offs, but which would fall under the guidelines of sex trafficking. We all know married couples. I don't like to get in married couples or couples period business as far as how they get down. How you get down is how you get down. I remember last year, just to kind of do a connection here. I remember last year when Dwight Howard was accused of basically forcing somebody who he had multiple sexual encounters with something that this person wasn't okay with at this time. There's nothing wrong with doing whatever that you do. The problem comes in that where it becomes forceful. Once it becomes forceful, that's when these charges that we see coming down. So yes, Cassie could have been complicit with not sex trafficking. She could have been okay with the freak offs at one point in time. That doesn't mean that she was okay with them after a certain amount of time. So based off what I'm seeing so far, I think they pretty much got Diddy. I think this is pretty much a situation where his defense is going to really have to try to paint a picture to where this is nothing but a railroad attempt, try to get some money. She was complicit. She did enjoy it. But again, throughout this timeline, if, he became, because we all know he's abusive. We all know that. But like she said, there became times where he would become frustrated and she would get punished with doing these freak offs. That's not okay. That's not okay. And at this point in time, when it comes to this case in particular and what he's being charged with, I don't see a situation where he comes out victorious, honestly. I really don't. You have others you had other ones take the stand as well, other escorts who took the stand, who testified, You had Dawn Richard, who took the stand as well, and she was able to give her accounts of a situation to where, Diddy got mad at her and took a pan of eggs and hit her over the head with it, which again, horrible, abusive. But I think we need to focus more on the sex trafficking aspect of this because that's what he's being charged for. And again, Diddy, I like I said, when I seen the video, I was done with Diddy. I was done with him. My heart is with Cassie and the other victims that are involved in this. I know her husband was also there to console with her as well. But I don't see a situation to where, and again, in the beginning, I had a misunderstanding of what sex trafficking is. But prostitution, we all know that to be illegal. So if you're purchasing these escorts, you're flying them in, that falls under the guidelines of sex trafficking. That falls under, again, you could look the definition up for yourself. You don't have to believe me. But yes, that falls under the guidelines of sex trafficking. I don't believe there's a situation to where Diddy is able to get any lesser time than what he's being accused of because it fits the definition. It fits the definition, and we all know that this is a very, very serious charge. And if he faces life in prison for this, it is what it is. We don't have no room for this in our industry. We understand that he's a music mogul. He's done great records, but it comes a time where you have to be held accountable for your past actions. And Diddy has to be held accountable. I remember there was another one when they was basically asking about why she came back. So we have to understand, too, when it comes to domestic violence situation and sexual assault, we do know there are times where, some abusers do leave and they do come back. Now, some people might say, oh, Mike, well, that means this is some bullshit, da-da-da. That doesn't necessarily mean that. That doesn't necessarily mean that. You do have, what we call Stockholm Syndrome. We have to understand that Cassie was 19 years old when she first got with Diddy. He's upper 30s years old. So again, me reiterating this point because this is what stands out to me the most. You can consent to certain things in the beginning. At some time, again, down the timeline, when y'all start engaging more and more, you are well within your rights to be like, no, I'm not with that no more. So that's pretty much all I got from that as far as this takeaway. There is a lot more to be discussed. Again, Aubrey not taking the stand in this case is, I want to know what happened between Friday and Saturday morning that she was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because I remember she was one of the people who was very vocal in terms of Diddy being abusive, business dealings that he did bad, verbally abusive, physically abusive, seeing him be physically abusive to others. So I want to know what happened in terms of that as to why she's not taking a stand in this trial. But I mean, all in all, though, it's terrible. We shouldn't have to be here. Again, I said this last week when it came out other music greats. Diddy shouldn't be in this position. But you do have guys in the industry and entertainment who have somewhat of a God complex, who believe they're somewhat untouchable. I could get away with this. Again, we've seen this with R. Kelly. Again, we've seen this with Bill Cosby. We've seen it with others. Harvey Weinstein. They use their power to influence, manipulate others, take advantage of them. So I do believe Cassie to be complicit at a certain time, but I also believe her to be a victim. And ultimately, all of this is what he's being charged for. Again, racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation, engagement, prostitution. If you're purchasing escorts and flying them in and then these acts become forceful, yes, he's cooked. And I do believe that they have enough to convict him, but we all have to see how it plays out because we all know how the court system goes. We've seen the wildest things happen. In my personal opinion, though, I do believe Diddy to be guilty based off the charges that they have stemmed. And again, in the beginning, because based off of what the prosecution was just presenting as far as the video, I'm like, that's not sex trafficking. That's domestic violence abuse. And if that's what y'all are going to lead with, then this should have been a domestic violence case, not a sex trafficking, racketeering case. But again, me following this case closely and doing my due diligence and my proper research, this definitely falls under the guidelines of sex trafficking. So again, we would have to see how this plays out. Again, my prayers to Cassie and others who were involved. But yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. And of course, we're gonna have more coverage to come along with this. So I'm interested to definitely see how this plays out. So next on the docket, we had Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez stabbed 14 times in a California prison. And this is gonna, of course, tie in connection with the bodyguard who came forward because this thing is ridiculous. First of all, Tory Lanez being stabbed 14 times. I just charge that to that just being prison life. That being prison life. I listened to his last album. He even spoke about hearing screams, having to have that thing on you. That's just prison life. In no way do I connect that to the new information that we had come out, which I will play in a second. But Tory, because I see a lot of this conspiracy theory about, oh yeah, Tory got stabbed because, this information is about to come out and, this, that, and the third, they trying to get him and this, that, and the third. And also, I don't believe when Tory Lanez got stabbed 14 times, there was a note that was dropped on his Instagram story about how he's in good spirits. He's talking. Bro, if you got stabbed 14 times, you got stabbed in your lungs and they had to put you on a breathing machine, you're not going to be able to do that within the next 10, 12 hours. That's usually about a 48-hour type of recovery. So I don't know where they got that from. But in no way do I believe that had anything to do with this new information that just came out. And let me go ahead and play this clip for y'all as regards to this new information that came out as regards to Kelsey Harris' bodyguard. He came forward because apparently he couldn't get no sleep at night and all that. So let me just go ahead and play this.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
Now, here's my whole thing with this situation, because this happened July 2020. The incident happened July 2020. Tory got found guilty in December of 2022. And just to give a background of what Tory Lanez was charged with, Tory Lanez was charged and convicted on 3 felony counts related to the shooting of Meg Thee Stallion. These charges included assault with a semi-automatic firearm, possession of a concealed, unregistered firearm, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. He was sentenced to 10 years of prison. Because I see there's this lie going around that's saying, well, Tory wasn't charged with the shooting, bruh. That's really what he was charged for. Assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Those were under the charge that he was charged for. So again, this happened July 2020. Tory was charged, found guilty 2022. Here we are almost 3 years later. Here's my thing with this. Regardless of what any of us think, we know one thing to be true. Meg was hurt. She was hurt by gunshots that might have happened off a ricochet, whatever the case may be. What we believe to be happening, and I've spoken on this before, what I thought initially happened was there was a struggle over the gun goes off, she essentially is hurt. She's saying that Tory shot her. Tory is saying when we get to the case that, or even before then, that Kelsey didn't shoot her. Then we get to the case, he still stands on that, basically say she didn't shoot her. So what happened? And I feel like at the end of the day, Tory played himself. This is just what it is. This information coming out now, almost 3 years later, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help him in no way, shape, or form. Now all of a sudden you losing sleep because you can't see a man sitting behind bars. A man done been sitting behind bars for almost 3 years now. The man is almost sitting. And again, this is Kelsey's bodyguard. If you remember, there's a driver that was in that car as well, and he didn't show up for the trial. I've never seen in any situation where there are 4 witnesses of something that happened and one of them don't show up to trial. Where does that happen at? I don't know that I remember that being, okay, so why is the driver not at this trial? He knows what happened. Apparently he just went away. They couldn't get in contact with him. You couldn't get in contact with him. In a high profile case like this, you couldn't get in contact with that driver. Now the bodyguard is coming out 3 years later saying this is what he heard. Do I find it alarming that Kelsey did have immunity? Yes, I do. I do find it alarming of her taking immunity if she didn't have no parts in this. But ultimately, Tory played himself, and you have to eat it. You got to eat the 10 years, dog. That's just what it is. If you weren't willing to tell the police what happened, if you wasn't willing to go to trial and say, hey, I didn't shoot her, this is what happened. And honestly, I think all of them could have got from under this if they would have been honest from the jump of what happened. Accidents happen. Things happen. Arguments happen. Now, I'm not saying neither one of them wouldn't have been held accountable, but I do think there wouldn't have been a situation where somebody is going to jail for 10 years. Arguments happen, things happen. Yes, certain states have different laws, so you could be telling me, no, Mike, you sound crazy. But I do feel like had everybody just been honest from the jump about what happened, because you have to remember, too, initially, Meg was quiet about it. Then she started seeing things on the internet, and that's when she came out and said, you know what, this nigga Tory shot me. I was trying to be cool. I was trying to keep it under wraps, so that's what happened. So ultimately, Tory has nobody to blame with himself. Regardless about what I think, what others think, what anybody else think, if you're not willing to say that Kelsey Harris grabbed the gun, there was a struggle over the gun, shots went off, you have to eat that. Kelsey's not on trial. Meg is not on trial. You are on trial. It is what it is, bro. I'm calling a spade a spade. I'm being unbiased and as fair as I can in this whole situation. But ultimately, Tory played himself. If you felt like as if this woman had shot her and you was just trying to protect her, then that's what should have been said. But that's not what happened. And ultimately, you was found guilty and you had to eat the 10 years. This bodyguard coming out 3 years later doesn't make any sense, bro. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's opening up old wounds. It got everybody up in a frenzy again. And again, regardless of what you think, the results is this man went to jail for 10 years because he wasn't. Why would you not even take the stand during the trial? That's another thing. There's no way I could be in that situation as Tory Lanez. At the height of my career, you got to think, Tory Lanez was killing 2020. Killing shit. Like this nigga had quarantine radio. Everybody was coming on the live. He just got out his deal, so he going fully independent. You killing shit. You have this incident happen and you're not willing to say, oh, this is what happened. It couldn't have been me, bro. It couldn't. But what happened was he was trying to play it cool. He ain't snitching. He ain't doing none of that. Dog, enough. This is where we're at with it. He has to eat that 10 years. And even if it was to come out of that information, then okay, cool. You deal with that. I don't got no static for Meg, because ultimately she was the one who was hurt. And I feel like a lot of bad choices were made that night. But ultimately the case was, again, these charges were assault with a semi-automatic firearm, possession of a concealed unregistered firearm, discharging a firearm with gross negligence. I'm not denying all this DNA and all this other stuff happened, but there was plenty of missteps happened on Tory's end as far as prosecution. You should have had to drive at the trial, regardless of what they say. Hey, go find this guy. We gonna delay this, or whatever the case may be. Go find this guy. We need to have him up here. And he should have testified against himself. What he thought was gonna happen was there was going to be a mistrial. It didn't happen. That's exactly what he thought was gonna happen. So that's a lack of accountability on his part as far as this whole situation. At the end of the day, somebody was hurt and somebody got to be held accountable. If you're not gonna say Kelsey shot her, you did it. That's how it goes. It is what it is, dog. And again, I don't believe, because there's a whole bunch of conspiracies going around saying, oh, yeah, well, he was stabbed up 14 times because, this information. Dog, first of all, we have to remember the information came about the guy who did it. This was a Mexican guy, and he's also in life in prison for raping and killing his then 13-year-old girlfriend. At the time, he was 20 years old. That man has nothing to do with what they got going on as far as that case as regards to Tory Lanez. Nothing. That's just prison life. And let this be a reminder of, and unfortunately, because be mindful of what you're doing out here. Because you don't want to have yourself in a situation to when you're in prison and you have to, most likely, I'm going to say most likely, have to come across somebody like that. These cats in prison are wired different, bro. Some of them have nothing to lose. When you're in prison, most of those guys are in there for life, 30 plus years, some on death row. They have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. So at this point, I really don't got nothing for Tory as regards to that, because this whole thing could have been avoided if everybody, more so him, been honest about what the fuck happened that night. Because again, if you remember, Meg was the one who was quiet, keeping everything on wrap. She was ultimately trying to protect him. And again, Kelsey getting immunity, yes, that is alarming to me, but ultimately it don't matter. Essentially, it don't matter. Them two got into it. We know that Kelsey and Meg did get into a physical altercation and a gun went off. That's all that needs to be said. And somebody got hurt, and that person was Meg. So he had to be accountable for it. Him going into that situation thinking it would be a mistrial is just a big misstep on his end. And it could have been avoided. But this is what you get, bro. So I don't know if there's more information to come out as regards to this. I don't see how it benefits him. I really don't. We have to wait and see how it plays out. But even if it does come out, is there going to be any accountability for the other two parties being not, I'm not even going to say necessarily Meg, but Kelsey? Because she got immunity in the case. So at what point, how does the scale tip to the other side as regards to accountability? Like, I don't feel like it'll be none at all. It won't be any. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all, dog. So that's all I got as far as that, as regards to the evidence, because that was another thing that hit the timeline in the first. It's just been a wild week. We had the Diddy trial, then we had this information with Tory came out, him getting stabbed, and the next day, the bodyguard comes out and says he couldn't. It's just a waste of time, in my opinion, dog. If you felt that way, you should have said it back then when all this was going down, way before the trial. It should have happened in 2020. That's when it should. Or when he got charged with this, you should have spoke up about it. So it's just a waste of time, man. I want to talk about Atlanta's home in crisis, and I kind of had tweets speaking about this before, but this is something that's been running rampant, not only in Atlanta, but also in other cities. And I remember this happening in Las Vegas. So investors now own 30% of Metro Atlanta's single-family rental homes. This is something that has been going on and probably under wraps for years now. Years. Basically, you have these businesses that buy up these new developments, and they go and they purchase all the single-family homes, and they just price out the average home buyer. That's what they're doing. And they will put these signs out that just say, rent, you can't own. We all know the state of the economy and what it's in now, but we all know one of the biggest wealth builders is owning a home. Don't let nobody else tell you nothing different. These are facts. I'm not saying the biggest, but one of the many wealth builders is owning a home. So why would all these investors be buying up all these homes if it don't benefit you? I want y'all to think about that. Because I see a lot of negative talk sometimes that comes to owning a home, what comes into buying a home. There's really no negatives as far as owning a home. I'm a home buyer. I'm a homeowner. There's not really the negatives and all these things that they talk about. Oh, all the maintenance, bro. Stuff don't be breaking in here. Stuff don't be breaking in here, bro. What we have on this earth as far as land is what we have. And if they're buying it up, they're buying it up for a reason because it's valuable. So this is a nasty game that's been going on. I remember I seen a new development going on in Vegas. And this is a brand new development. They don't even have no houses on it yet. And they already had the signs out there saying you will be able to rent. Like, no, what? These single family homes. Nobody can buy these. You don't find that alarming? Like, this is real life monopoly, but in a fucked up way. And we all know ATL to kind of be like the black mecca, so that really affects the black person's economically. You get what I'm saying? The price in the average home buyer, and on top of that, rent is sky high. So when you have those combinations of two, they're really setting up roadblocks for you to build wealth. So I hope we get to a place to where they start implementing laws on how much a company should be able to buy or invest or whatever the case may be. But you shouldn't be able to just buy up a whole new development and price out the average working family. Because at the end of the day, the people that keep the country running is the middle American. The middle income American, average income, average middle American income. So I'm trying to understand at what point do we get to a place to where we're back to a balance as far as homeowners buyer, because again, this is not something that's just happening in Atlanta. I've seen it happen in Charleston. I've seen it happen in Charlotte. I've seen it happen in Alabama. I've seen it happen in New York. California is fucking ridiculous. It's insane. Doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, I've seen my home in San Diego, California, San Francisco would be like $700,000. That's ridiculous. The average American don't even make that. Nowhere near close to that. Can afford it. Excuse me, not make that, but can afford that. That's insane. That's ridiculous. So I definitely came across that, and I wanted to speak about that because I want y'all to be more aware of what's going on out here when it comes to that. So if you are in a position to buy a home, please check all boxes. Be aware of what's going on out here, because I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better, especially with Trump in office. So we definitely have to be mindful. Definitely have to be mindful of that. Moving on, I want to talk about this rapper from Philly who I wasn't really informed about. His name is LGP Qua. He was killed in Philly. Very inspirational, motivational rapper, young guy. He was robbed and killed for his chains, and then when they found out he didn't have no money on him, he killed him, man. And that's so fucked up, man. And I want to say RIP to him and prayers and condolences to his family, because we need more positive figures out here. And when you're out here just taking them away, it only makes the cycle worse. It continues to be the same sad cycle. So I want to say RIP to that young brother. I think he was only 24, 25 years old, man. Very inspirational. He got a lot of love from people out in Philly, man. A lot of love. So again, RIP to him and condolences to his family. Next up, we had some rap battle going on this week between Joey Badass and Ray Vaughn, and also Reason kind of inserted himself in this too. So I want to go ahead and play the first diss that dropped, and this was off the basis of a freestyle that Ab-Soul, Big Sean, and Joey Badass was a part of. Let me see, I got this right here. Let me see where that freestyle at. Here we go. I got it right here. Bro, that nigga Joey killed that freestyle, bro. It's the reason why that nigga went last, bro. That nigga killed that shit, bro. I fuck with it. That was after I think Ray, because all this kicked off in January when Joey had the song "The Rulers Back." Then Ray had a response, and everybody was just waiting. So this was his response to Ray's last diss, which I can't remember. So then Ray Vaughn, less than 24 hours later, he comes out with his this. I'm not gonna play the full thing, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and get off on this first verse. So I will go ahead and play this. This is Whole Era by Ray Vaughn. Yeah, so that was Ray Vaughn. And I'm gonna be real, bro. I'm not really a fan of Ray Vaughn. That was a good diss, bro. That was a good diss. That was a good response to that freestyle. But then we had Joey come back within the next 24, 48 hours. So we got this one right here. We got the finals from Joey Badass. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play that right here. Yeah, so that was the finals by Joey Badass. Hey man, listen, and Reason had a diss too that he replied to. I think that one was like 6 minutes though, so I don't want to play that whole thing. It's called The Dead People. I'll give Reason some love. I'll play the first verse. Yeah, so that's Reasons this The Dead Apple. That was just a little bit of it. But here's my thing, bro. I think Joey Badass don't got to reply to either one of them. I think the finals was that's pretty much it. Like I said, Ray Vaughn's this was a good attempt. Reasons this was a good attempt, but both of those was kind of like okay. Joey's just I think he packed both of them up. That's just my opinion. I don't think Joey got to respond to either one of them. I'm seeing the conversation talking about, oh, we got to pretend to care about this rap battle. Dog, listen, and I had this conversation with Joe on Random Acts of podcast. Dog, listen, if you don't want to talk about or engage with what's going on with these rappers, because we all know we have levels. That's just what it is. This is not Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Drake, Kendrick Lamar. You do have different levels of tiers of rappers. Joey Badass is of course below those tiers of those guys, but they still are valuable in the rap game. We done had thousands of rappers come through. If these guys are engaging in rap battles, no messy shit, I'm gonna enjoy it, bro. I'm gonna enjoy it. I enjoyed the disses from these guys. I enjoyed the competitive warfare in it. It wasn't nothing serious coming from it. None of that other stuff. And I think it was a good battle. I think it was just niggas wanting to get on the mic and talk that shit. We all know Joey again started off the year with the rulers back. You know, just basically getting niggas to get their pen ready, bro. Like, yeah, I'm the best. There's a lot of this West Coast dick licking and all this other stuff. Hey, listen, dog, he just rapping. And I like when niggas want to get the rapping and be competitive with it. So I fuck with it, bro. And I feel like the conversation it does a conversation to disservice when we be like, oh, we gotta fake to pretend to care about this, bro. Listen, everybody can't be the elites of the elites. You have some good rappers as well who are well within their rights to engage in the battle, dog. Nobody's saying that, oh man, they just cause they ain't Kendrick and Drake, we supposed to no, bro. Like we have different levels of rappers for a reason. So I fuck with the battle. Again, I think Joey Badass had the best song out of this whole thing. I think his freestyle and his song just smashed whatever them two did. That's my honest opinion. I think he killed the freestyle, he killed the finals, and he should reign supreme in it. If he chooses to respond and it still goes on, hey, I salute it. I'm gonna have an ear to it. I'm gonna listen to it. But as far as the results, I think he cleaned both of them up. I think Ray Vaughn had a good attempt in the diss, and I think Reason did a good job as far as his diss, but it just wasn't good enough. It was good, but it wasn't good enough. So salute to Joey Badass. He's been killing it, you know, doing his thing in Power, which I'm gonna talk about later because the finale just dropped. And again, salute to Ray Vaughn and Reason for stepping up to the mic and doing that. I also did see that niggas were saying that Joey the only one outside for New York. Niggas saying only Ice Spice outside, man. So I'm trying to figure out where the other rappers at who want to, you know, step up to the plate. And it don't gotta be nothing. Again, this don't gotta be nothing personal or none of that. This could just be a good sparring of words. Who pen is better? But I did see that shit did have me lying. But they basically saying Joey was in the 20v1. But honestly, he handling that shit in my opinion. So if anybody else from New York want to step up and do it, hey man, go ahead and get your pen, get in the studio, get your beat, load up your beat. Get that pen pad and hey, get the sparring with these niggas because them niggas from the West Coast came with it. But I still think that Joey handled his own, man. So I want to salute them guys for that. We got Styles P versus Jim Jones. I didn't think I would see nothing like this, but Styles P has some words as regards to what he do and what Jim Jones do as far as rapping. So let me go ahead and play this clip real quick.
Me and Jim ain't in the same league. Me and Jim don't don't do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't.
I am a bar master. I am a lyrical technician. I've been on joints with some of the best MCs in the world. Big, Hole, Black Thought, Talib. I bar shit down. When Rakim tells you you're nice, KRS tells you you're nice, Big tells you you're nice, Hov tells you you're nice, Nas tells you you're nice, all these people tells you you're nice, you're fucking nice. I'm not here to make catchy hooks and do dope shit. I don't knock that. I'm trying to say some shit that's gonna make your soul move. There's gonna be some shit you may catch 10 years later down the line. So me and Jim don't do the same thing. I am a bar master. I'm master ip of this shit. There's not many people in my age group that have the amount of catalog I have. You gotta go sit down and listen to me. I'm a fucking library of bars, practically. I'll give you a My Life. I pull out Last Days with Big. I pull out Reservoir Dogs. I pull out The Joint with Nori.
Really good songs
in my own
with Big.
catalog. Jim don't got Alone in the Streets. Jim don't got A Green Piece of Paper. He don't got none of them kind of songs that make niggas cry. A couple of them, but not 20 of them. You better check my jacket. You better check my jacket. I made up a fucking lane. It was no artist MC before. Tell him that. It was Fly Dudes. It was Kings. I invented the lane where niggas saying they make hard shit. Me. I forgot more dope rhymes than most people would ever make. And that's a fucking fact. I would tell you to ask Cam and Jules on the low. Me and Jim ain't in the same.
So let me say this, man, because I fuck with both of them. I fuck with Styles. I fuck with Jim Jones. When it comes to rapping, I would give Styles P the edge. I will give him that. When it comes to discography, I'm going to have to give that edge to Jim. Jim has had a strong back end of his career. Of course, he was kind of looked at as the quote-unquote mascot for Dipset when they first came out, but Jim gets busy too. He might not have those classic, like, I remember Styles P on 24 Hours of Later, Reservoir Dogs. You get what I'm saying? You know, shit with the likes of Money, Power, Respect, all that. So if you want to talk about just rapping, yeah, but just to complete, like, they don't do the, I think Jim can hold his own, bro. I really do think Jim can hold his own. Jim has a strong catalog on the back end of his career, but I mean, y'all could probably let me know in the questions. Y'all send the questions to the email or whatever, but I still think that it's closer than what Styles giving Jim credit for, dog. That's my honest take. I'm not saying Styles don't bar shit up. I'm not saying that he can't get busy. I'm not even saying he won't beat Jim. But I still think Jim is capable of holding his own with Styles P, 100%. Especially based off the back end of Jim Jones' career. Come on, man. We got to be honest, bro. And sometimes I feel like Jim becomes like the punching bag. His last album was pretty good. So I don't know if Jim is going to possibly reply to this or not, but I 100% think that Jim Jones can hold his own, bro. 100% can hold his own versus Styles P. And Styles P is supposed to feel like that. Let me say that too. Styles P is 100% supposed to feel like he can out rap somebody that he feel like he's in a higher tier than. It's really just on Jim to either combat that or, you know, just let it be. It is what it is. But in my personal opinion, I 100% think Jim Jones can hold his own with Styles P. 100%. I'd be interested to see if they was to do something like that. And then, you know, we can see how that unfolds. But nah, man, shout out to Jim, man. I'm going to definitely give Jim some love, man, because he definitely get busy. He got a nice discography. Again, as far as the rapping, I might give the edge to Styles P, but I think Jim Jones can get busy, man, 100%. So AJ from 106 Park sparked a conversation that I wanted to talk about. He said that 106 Park could work today. If you don't know AJ, he was a host of, you know, the famous 106 Park, the top 10 music video countdown show where they count down the best videos of that month, that week. They had artists come on the show. So I want to play this clip from what AJ's talking about.
Yes, videos free, but the conversations, and you got to think about
before you honestly could get videos there.
No, but listen, you got
now I ain't got to wait for you.
It's above that because back then artists had to come and talk about their video. They had to come and talk about their music, and it was like there were segments to that. And I think that honestly improved the music. Yeah, like labels were like, we can't put this out because they're gonna end up on the couch talking about this. Yeah. If you think about some of the stuff that's out now. Could I have 3 segments with an artist talking about what they're saying on that record? I think it improved music. But I think that's necessary and needed. I don't know if it's a 106 in Park, but it's a show that's needed.
And conversation.
So let me say this. AJ does have some points, but I feel like if you're going to rewrite 106 in Park, it can't be centered around music videos. it would have to be centered more around the artist. And with the artists of today, they would have to be dedicated like the artist was back then as far as showing up. You can't base it around a top 10 because, like I said, when music videos come out now, I feel like just even from a creative standpoint, the music videos are not as creative because you have to remember back then when music videos came out, they were like promo for your album. That was a major thing. You got to get the best director. Your music video has to hit because that's going to impact your record sales for that first week or that first month. So the music videos are not even approached the same. So you can't even base 106 Apart if it was a comeback around music videos. You would be doing yourself a disservice. If you want to bring back 106 Apart, you have to bring it back to where the artists are coming up there promoting their album. If they want to show a video, cool. But it has to be centered around the artist. And with the artists of today, I don't feel like if they don't see it benefiting them views-wise, engagement-wise, especially because we don't have to run to the TV no more. Everybody's running to the internet. So you would have to have something in place to where these artists are 100% dedicated to basically putting on a great show because the fans are going to be there. They want to be engageful and all that. So, yeah, some things we got to leave in the past, bro. That's essentially what I'm saying. If you want to bring back something like that, it can't be formatted around a music video because music videos don't debut on TV no more. The artist damn sure ain't going to wait to debut it on 106 Apart. But if you want to do a top 10, yeah, but it would have to be on something that's already currently out. And most these artists are running to YouTube to upload that shit so they can get their views, they get their bread and all that. They're not really willing to the fan artist engagement is not what it was back then. Back then, you did have that more, we seeing them. They coming up. We get to shake hands with them. Hey, shout out to everybody in the crowd, all that. Nah, they engaging with these guys online now. So I feel like if you're going to do something like that, it would have to be centered around the artist and the want to of the artist. That's really what it's going to boil down to. You can't center around a countdown and music video. It have to be engageful for the artist to talk about their new album. But it would have to be completely done wrong. It's just a different time now. We in the internet era. Everything is moving fast. So it wasn't how it was back then. Like the artists don't need a music video now to promote themselves. All they gotta have is a hit song and that shit, boom, take off. The music video was a real big part of your album sales. Very big part because it's time to promo. First thing we're going to do, we're going to hit up Director X. Boom, we need this hot video. So, yeah, I know AJ coming from a place of, good heart and all that, but I just don't see it, dog. I don't see it. We just in a different time now, man. So some things are best being left in the past, man. So I want to shout out my nigga Miquo. My nigga Miquo from Houston. He had an album that came out early this year. And I wasn't really in tune with the album because there's a song off this album called Big Nova that I really fuck with. But I want to give my dog a good review. This album is called East Side Crewed Up. It's an EP. It dropped January 24, 2005. It's 5 songs. It got Dennis Webster, Big Nova, Tumbleweed, Live That Way, E-Money Sign GTM. I really fuck with Tumbleweed, Big Nova, and Dennis Webster. So I want to salute my dog for putting out a good EP. I know you recently just posted about having a cypher. So I hope you did your thing on that. I'm interested to see the clip from that, the highlights from that. So keep doing your thing, dog. I came across him probably about a few years ago, just through a mutual follow. I think I saw him on the Explore page. So dog really gets busy. I also think he produces as well. If not, Miquo, you can correct me on that. But this nigga's nice, man. I really want to give him his props for that. Again, the couple of tracks that stand out for me on this is Dennis Webster, Big Nova, and Tumbleweed. So definitely want to salute my dog for that and keep doing your thing, dog. Real talk. And Raise Kanan season finale finally hit us. What a hell of a cliffhanger, man. This is a spoiler alert, so you might as well go ahead and fast forward if you haven't seen the finale yet. But it dropped Friday, so you should have been seeing this shit already. I want to salute Raise Kanan again for outdoing the last season. This is why I fuck with shows who always outdo their previous season. I'm not saying you don't have seasons that, be better on the back end or on the front end. That's cool. But when you have a show that continues to get better each season, you move up the ranks for me. And you keep me on the edge of my chair and ready to see the next show. This season finale was amazing. Kanan, man. I feel like Kanan this is just my prediction. Because we did get the introduction to Breeze. So I think that's going to segue into hopefully a separate show of the come up of of Kanan, Tommy, Ghost, and Breeze. So hopefully, but we did get the introduction to Breeze. And man, this finale was thick, man. And I'm still standing on my square that Lou is the best actor in the show. Lou has killed his role in this show. And everybody's doing an amazing job. Everybody's doing an amazing job. But I put him at the top. If I had to put it in order, I'd probably say Lou. I'd probably say, honestly, I'm going to say Rock. I'm going to say Rock. I'm going to say Marvin, Joey, and then I'm going to say probably Kanan. But Lou has been knocking this shit out the park, bro. Like his emotions just run so, it's just so authentic, especially when he get to having them one-on-one conversations with the other characters. Like when his scenes, when he got to talk one-on-one, he just bodies that shit, man. But this finale was amazing. We had Stefano get stabbed up. We had Joey got mad because he can't get no connect, so he burning down everything for Raquel's connects and places of businesses. We got Kanan, who put the gun up the Rock, and then we hear the gunshot, but we don't see what happens. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But here's my prediction. I think that Rock does get killed by Kanan, but then he finds out that he had nothing to do with everything, and that's ultimately what turns him dark. I think that's ultimately what turns him dark. Him killing his mom, and then finding out she had nothing to do with it, that's a lot of weight for somebody, and that could turn them into ways that, bro, like, what the fuck? Because if you remember, in Power, he had to kill Jukebox. He had to kill Jukebox for Tariq. So I think that's my prediction of what's going to happen. But this finale was A1. This season was A1. And hell of a cliffhanger, man. Hell of a fucking cliffhanger, man. Y'all fucked me up with that one, but I wouldn't want to know either way, man. So salute the 50, salute for all the writers, producers, the actors. Y'all 100% killed this shit, knocked it out the park. And I'm ready for season 5, man. I'm definitely ready for season 5, man. So again, salute to y'all on that. So conference final. So by the time this show airs, Game 7 between the Thunder and Nuggets would already happen. So I don't know who will be we won't know who the winner is of that. So my prediction as far as that, I do have the Thunder winning that game, but J-Dub got to step up. I'm sorry, J-Dub got to step up. J-Dub had a horrible game 6. And these are the moments that, separates, the boys from the men. This is game 7, all things on the line. We know Joker, he's been there. But the Nuggets have a big injury with Aaron Gordon, so I'm interested to see how that plays out. But the Thunder, they're favored by 8 points. So they should go ahead and handle business. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But J-Dub 100% has to play better, bro. He has had some stinkers in this series. J-Dub 100% has to play better, bro. It's inexcusable for him to be out here shooting 3 of 6, 4 of 15. Matter of fact, I got the stats. Let me go ahead. Let me pull this up real quick because this nigga has been abysmal. And this doesn't make any sense, dog. I was like, bro, what the fuck? This nigga, this series has been shooting 2 of 13, 3 of 16, 5 of 14, 5 of 20. Inexcusable. You are the second best player on the Thunder. You need to be stepping up to helping out SGA, bro. 100%. On the Nuggets side, I expect Joker to show up, have a great game. This is really on the roll, guys. Christian Braun, you're logging starter minutes. You got to be better. Jamal Murray, you got to do your thing. Aaron Gordon, he got the hamstring, so I don't know. MPJ 100% has to be better. He has been inconsistent throughout these playoffs, bro. You are getting paid buku money for your role, and you need to be playing better. I expect Russell Westbrook, just from an energy standpoint, to play better. So that's my prediction. I think the Thunder win this game like 107-95 type. I think it'll be close and do like late fourth quarter. SGA closes this game out, so that is my prediction. And as far as the Eastern Conference, wow, we just had a wild turn of events, bro. Since I last recorded, Jason Tatum, of course, tore his Achilles, so he'll be out for not only the rest of these playoffs, but next year as well. So I'm hoping Jason Tatum has a speedy recovery. But they got packed up by the New York Knicks, man, and we will be having a Pacers and Knicks Eastern Conference Finals. Feel like 1995 up in this motherfucker, bro. That's going to be crazy. My finals prediction for that, I think this is just the Knicks year, bro. The Knicks are playing with a high level of confidence. They just beat the defending champs. No disrespect to the Pacers. Halliburton is doing a great thing. I do think they are capable of winning this series, but I do have the Knicks taking this series in 6. I do. I think Jalen Brunson is seeing red. Cat is seeing red. Tom Thibodeau, I give him the edge as far as coaching. He's a great coach. Hart, these guys just want it more. And I think the Knicks are in a position to where I think we might have a Knicks and Wolves NBA Finals. That's my prediction. The Wolves are already ready to play. They've been waiting, so they got to wait the winner. But I do think that the Wolves can beat the Thunder, and I think Anthony Edwards in combination with Julius Randle, I think that duo right now, in terms of what they're doing, they are playing way better than the combination of J-Dub and SGA. SGA is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He has kind of been up and down, but he's been picking it up lately. But I think the combination of Ant Edwards and Julius Randle right now and them having this rest, I think Ant Edwards gets to the finals. I think Ant Edwards, a combination of Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, I think Julius Randle is going to be a big X factor in that series too, because Chet Holmgren just ain't it, and I don't think Hartenstein is it neither as far as containing Rudy Gobert. And I'm not speaking from an offensive standpoint. I'm talking from a rebounding, getting second chance. Second chance points is going to be a major thing in the Thunder and Wolves series if that's the matchup. If the Nuggets happen to match up with them, I'm definitely giving the edge to the Wolves. I just think they're a better constructed team. They're more healthy. They have more of consistency right now. They have more of the confidence right now. They've been playing some great basketball as of late. So I'm definitely going to give the edge to them. And I'm hoping for a great finals, conference finals from both ends. Again, I expect the Knicks to take that series in 6 versus the Pacers. I think the Pacers are capable of winning that series, though. But the Knicks, if they continue to lock in, and again, you beating the defending champs. Granted, Tatum was out, but they did beat them when Tatum was there. You remember, they went up 2-0 on the road. So they did handle business with Tatum on that team. So I think the Knicks, I think this is just the Knicks' year. I think this is just their year, and they're going to handle business. They're going to coast to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. And I think we will have a great final. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out as well. So, the NBA draft lottery, bruh, and I'm not one of the people that say the NBA is rigged, and I hate that I even have to even entertain this thought, but dog, this is some bullshit. I'm sorry. This just gives Nico Harrison more passes, bruh. And I'm gonna keep it up. Niggas can say I'm hating. I'll own that. I don't give a fuck. This is some bullshit, bruh. There's no way that you can convince me that this motherfucker traded Luka Doncic and now you get the first number 1 overall draft pick with 1.8% chance odds. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. This is some bullshit, bro. This motherfucker got saved beyond. Oh, this is just getting saved beyond crazy measures, bro. Crazy measures. You mean to tell me that you trade your franchise player to the Lakers and you get rewarded with the number 1 overall draft picking and getting Cooper Flag? Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, bro. That's some bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm not rolling. No disrespect to the Dallas fans, Mavericks fans. Hey, congratulations. You get the number 1 pick. But how it transpired, you can't sell me on that shit. And I know the odds change, so there is a chance of teams with 5% chance, 6% chance, 7% chance of getting it. But this is 100% some bullshit. Sorry. Get it the fuck out of here. But as far as the draft itself, Cooper Flag, of course, is my unanimous number 1 overall draft pick. If you don't draft this nigga, you playing yourself. So I don't think Dallas would drop the ball on that. Nico Harrison definitely wouldn't survive that if he was to draft another player. So salute to them. I do like Ace Bailey. Let me go ahead and just let me talk about who got the top draft picks. So we had the NBA Tankathon. Let me go. We had Dallas at number 1, San Antonio number 2, Philly number 3, Charlotte number 4. And just based off of the mock, they had Cooper Flag going to Dallas, Dylan Harper going to Spurs, Ace Bailey Sixers, VJ Edgecombe, I hope I'm saying that right. If not, my apologies, going to the Hornets. So again, I got Cooper Flag being the unanimous number 1 pick. I like Ace Bailey as a number 2 pick. I like Ace Bailey better than Dylan Harper. That's my personal opinion. I think he's more polished of a player. Definitely could get buckets. So if you got a guy who can already just come in and get buckets, everything else can be polished up, and he can only continue to trend up and get better as far as playmaking ability. Really understanding the game as far as the X's and O's, where to be at. But I think Ace Bailey is a better pure talent than Dylan Harper. I don't think the San Antonio Spurs are dropping the ball if they do draft Dylan, but I got Ace Bailey as a better player than Dylan Harper. And I think the Spurs, in combination with Wemby and whatever they choose to do in the offseason, I think that's a better pairing with Wemby than Dylan Harper. But you can't go wrong either way. But again, that Dallas lottery was some of the funniest shit I ever seen in my fucking life, bro. That was insane shit. I'm like, bro, are we dead ass right now? Like, are we being for real? These niggas really got the number 1 pick. Shout out my nigga Cliff. He's a Dallas Mavericks fan, so salute to Cliff for securing that, because Dallas fans have definitely been through a lot this year. So from a moral standpoint, yes, y'all do deserve the number one overall draft. But how y'all got it? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Stop it. Knock it the fuck off. My Bulls, we got the 12th pick. We ain't doing shit with that. So, hey, man, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. So, that's pretty much all I got for this week's show, man. Again, I want to thank y'all for tapping in, fucking with me, still taking this journey with me. Again, it's brand new, so I definitely appreciate y'all. If y'all have questions, please send questions to oldmikeLowry@yahoo.com. That's OLMIKELAAAWRY@yahoo.com. So I can answer some of those questions on air. If you got any questions for me, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Don't cost nothing to subscribe, like, and share. Please get those subscribes up on YouTube for the dog. Follow me on TikTok at I'm Not Repeating Myself Pod. I'm Not Repeating Myself Pod on Instagram. I'm Not Repeating on Twitter. Follow me at Old Mike Lowry on all platforms. And please follow I'm Not Repeating Myself Podcast on SoundCloud, on Spotify, and on Apple. So, again, this is pretty much all I got for this week. I hope y'all go into this week, knock out your goals, stay consistent. And another thing, bro. If you're not willing to work hard for your dreams, move around. That's what I'm ending this show on. Move around. You're doing yourself a disservice. If you're not willing to put in the work, just move around, bro, because you're playing yourself. And somebody else can have the same aspirations and dreams as you, and they can fill that spot. So think about that when you bullshitting with whatever it is that you're chasing. So, again, this is I'm Not Repeating Myself Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and I hope you heard what I said the first time because I'm not repeating myself. I'm out.